All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Real Dad Movement Podcast. This is your host, as you obviously already know, Big Red. Although I've got to be careful saying that. We've got another Big Red here, don't we? It's Swaying Dog. But joined with a very special guest, good mate of mine. Actually, big brother, when I was coming through in the Panthers jersey flag days. And had a big impact on my life, man, in terms of work ethic, working hard, and redheads sticking together. That's for sure. But we got Luke Swain, with us today, mate. Thank you for giving us your time and joining us, brother.
No worries, Alex. No worries. Glad to be here, mate. Have to put a caveat though. Like you were the little big brother because you were a better foot taller than me when you're 19. So down there in the gym back in the day. But yeah, no, mate, it's good to catch up with you and excited to see what you're doing with yourself and this RDM movement and happy to be here, mate. Have a chat.
Definitely, man. And it's good, bro. I mean, well, obviously we're streaming this live as well, and the guys will get a huge amount of value out of this because, the value that you've added to your life and those around you, man. But I guess before we dive into footy, your professional career, what we're speaking about recently with how you broke your neck and overcoming that, fatherhood, life today. It'd be awesome, mate, just to get a bit of background on yourself, Swain, and your upbringing and what got you into footy. So if you'd love to share a bit about your upbringing and where you've come from, mate, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, mate, I grew up in a suburb, a new sort of development near Blacktown called Dean Park, which is just out that way now. It's all developed now. It's all houses now. But back in the day, it was just a tiny little suburb. And yeah, mate, I was late to sport, really. Like I played a bit of soccer when I was a young kid, then dabbled in a bit of cricket and enjoyed that, but then didn't play rugby league till under 12s, and I was in the second side, out on the wings sort of thing. Just a mate of mine from down the road dragged me along. But then fell in love with it straight away type of thing, jumped in there. First year in, I was a year above myself with the kids down the road, and then I jumped back in my own age group and family feed a little bit and played for, out that way, West Mount Druitt Raiders, they were called. They're now defunct. They're gone now, unfortunately. But back in the day, the West Mount Druitt Raiders were my colours, and St Mary's Leaf Club had a couple of years out there. Mate, junior rep footy and things, I got hurt in the first 10 minutes of Harold Matthews, which is the first year age group, under 15s, I think it was. And I played 10 minutes of that. And then I actually hurt me back playing cricket when I was 16. So I missed a couple of years of footy through that as well. So I didn't play any junior rep footy, really. So I had a bit of a checkered past as a kid. I sort of enjoyed the game and loved the game, and I was always sort of in the mix, but just got hurt those couple of crucial times, like got hurt playing cricket, got stress fractures in my lower back and lumbar region. And I just had one specialist say to me, mate, you're too lean and you're never going to put the weight on you're going to need to play high-level footy, so give it away, mate. So I was 16, had all my eggs in the one basket, I was going to play first grade, I loved it. And then got that news and it just rocked me. And, I had to spend 6 months in a plastic corset sort of thing to look after me back. Couldn't play any sport in my senior years at school. And, spent a good 3 or 4 months thinking that was it, and just a bit lost and didn't have a good time. Yeah, didn't have a good time at school there. Yeah.
You were naturally quite lean, and I mean you always shredded and had the rig, mate, when we had our pre-season. But you were naturally quite lean, and then these stress fractures led to, I guess, you being told that you'll never be big enough, strong enough to be able to handle it in the arena, right?
Mate, that's exactly what I was told. We had a specialist. He actually said the same thing. The same doctor said the same thing to Luke Rooney, who went on and played for Australia. So I won't mention the doctor's name, but I think, he's been shown up a couple of times there. But, mate, he gave me the news. And for me, it got me training. I think that's where my work ethic was created, like in the backyard gym. Just had a bit of a bench press and a chin-up bar out in the garage. And took those words and thought, well, it's up to me to try and prove people wrong here, and got in there and just trained the absolute house down as a 16-year-old, like a lunatic.
What was driving that? What was driving that, man? Like, that's a tough news to get, bro. And then looking at what you've achieved, like what was driving you to push and not necessarily prove people wrong, or maybe that was it. I don't know, to get to where you were.
Mate, I think it was just single-mindedness. It was just sort of like one of those things where, you know, I was gung ho. I was going to do this, you know, as a 15, 16-year-old. I really enjoyed my footy and wanted to play, and wasn't going to let little setbacks, you know, stop me. Really, I don't know. I think it was just sort of just as an adolescent teenager, pig-headed. I'm just going to get this done, and enjoyed training. You know, that was always an advantage of mine. Like, enjoyed the training, enjoyed the process, enjoyed the learning about nutrition and what it takes, and the, you know, the rest and recovery. And I enjoyed that at school and in life. So, mate, I took it, you know, by the scruff of the neck and ripped in.
It's awesome, man. And then when did you get back into footy? Like, what was the process there? Like, you, 16, 17, 18? Like, and what did you do from there that got you eventually into having a shot with the Panthers?
Mate, I still remember the day ringing the recruitment coach at Penrith, Jimmy Jones, who's there again now, and saying to him, "Look, mate, I'm ready to go. I've got a doctor's clearance. You know, like I'm 18 by this stage, I think. So you've got to play the Jersey Flegg competition, which it is now." And he said, "Oh, mate, sorry, we're full. You know, like this is November, and we've got our pre-season squad, and we're done." So I was like, I was devastated. So I went and trained for the Kellyville Bushrangers in the Metro Cup. A mate of mine from school, he was playing there. And he said, "Oh, we'll jump in the car and we'll go down to Kellyville and you can just play Metro Cup for a year and, you know, as a young bloke and try and get back into it." And train the house down sort of thing, train that way. And I don't know what happened. You know, the way I remember it and the way people tell me is one of the guys, you know, he did the wrong thing, got dropped out of the Jersey Flegg squad. I think he got in trouble with the law and he's gone, and they needed an outside back, someone who plays centre, sort of back row, and that was me. And so they gave me a call, and I did the whole pre-season at Kellyville thinking, oh well, maybe, you know, the path's not going to be so straight anymore. It's not just going to be junior reps all the way in. I'm going to have to go around the long way. But got the call before the first or second trial in the Jersey Flegg. So I was fit. I was ready to go. I had a great off season with the men. It was probably a good thing for me to train with men in the off season. Steeled me a bit, and then got in there and just took it by the scruff of the neck. And then by the end of the year, I'd played half a dozen reserve grade games by the end of that year. So I had a pretty successful comeback.
That's awesome. And you've got a bit of a Chuck Norris there about you, so I'd assume that after the Kellyville pre-season, you would have made them better men when you left. And
as a young bloke,
but it's wow, that's incredible, man. It brings back memories of when I was going through Flegg, and it's pretty crazy, isn't it? The stats when you look at it, even from Harold Matts to SG Ball to Flegg to reserve grade, mate. What would it be like? 1 to 3% come through every year? Like, it'd be nuts. It'd be so hard to get up there.
Yeah, and the stats they sort of give you as because I've stayed involved with rugby league through playing and coaching, obviously, since then. I haven't stopped since then, but and the average career, if you get to the top, it's still 40 games, and that's the average. You know, some guys will play half a dozen, some guys will play 300, but even of the small percentage of guys that do make it, sometimes only a couple of games, and that's it. You know, so it is really small, and it's a competition, isn't it, out there, and people want to do it. It's a popular sport. So,
mate, how did it feel going from not knowing where you were to then a pre-season with Kellyville to playing half a dozen reserve grade games? What was it like?
I still distinctly remember speaking with my family about it, speaking with my mum, actually thinking, I'm so happy, like, now that I'm going to uni and I'm playing reserve grade footy now. Like, this is so good. You know, 12 months ago, didn't know where I was. I think I only just got the clearance from the doctor. And that's one of the first things, I think, like, looking back, and when you were asking me what drove me, sort of thing, I think little victories like that is really set myself up. You know, like, I really took, you know, you're 18 and you've got no brains, but I think I took stock of the achievement of going from not playing anything at all, but thinking that career's over, to playing a few reserve grade games and thinking, I still remember the end of the season was over, and thinking, you know, that was pretty cool. Like, I'm pretty proud of myself that, you know, it felt like a 4-year process coming from a kid, being hurt, a couple of years out, a couple of years in, you know, like, and I you know, I was happy where I was there. I was pretty stoked where I was there.
It's a powerful thing, man. Like what you said then, it resonated with an old saying. I don't know where it came from, but it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have one and not be prepared, right? Like, imagine if you didn't do your pre-season with Kellyville and you were just slack, or and then you got called up to a trial match with. Man, you wouldn't have even made the bench if you'd done no pre-season or anything.
That's exactly right, mate. Yeah, and like I said, I'm so involved in footy, and you see kids coaching, and the basics are still the basics, and the way forward is still the way forward. You can't shirk it. You just got to get your shoulder to the wheel and get it done.
You can't cheat it, can you? It's and it's really funny, the ripple effect too. Like, is it fair to say that given what you did and what you went through, ultimately, in selflessly going from the wing to the forwards, gave Rooney the opportunity to play for Australia? Is that
exactly what I was about to say, actually? So, Roon, if you're listening, mate.
Roon's watching this, mate. Only reason you played for Australia because Swaney let you, mate. So, oh man, hilarious. So from there, man, let's move into what happened then. Next year, you're with pre-season with first grade. Like, how'd you get up in and get your shot?
Mate, I think I was, like a lot of things, I was really lucky in some ways. John Lang was the coach at the time. He'd set the structure up that you train in the morning, guys would have the opportunity to go and work and then come back and they train in the afternoon. That was a full-time squad, which is still a little bit old school for the time, for the early 2000s. But it worked in my advantage because I was going to university. I still had to work, obviously. Back in the day, there was no minimum contract like there is today. It was, you had to graft a little bit. So I spent a couple of years. I played the whole reserve grade season the next year, and then the year after, coming into 2003, I was able to train in the morning with first graders, in the gym, and then in the afternoons, I got invited a couple of times to be able to train in the afternoon. So that circumstance really, really helped me, and I just went and worked at the local gym in the leisure centre. Did my uni as well. Got the footy done as well. And just busted myself, basically. I look back at it now, you think, where did you sleep and where did you get it done? But it's what I had to do.
Was it that setup when I started coming through as well? The big complex with the gym and out the back, man, that was good. That was a good setup.
That's awesome, mate.
Awesome. Would you got Potsy commenting, mate? Swain Dog legend, Potsy McLean.
Yeah, it's Potsy, my man. Well, listen, he was my bigger brother. I feel like Potsy was my weights partner when I was a young bloke. Shout out to Pots, mate. Yeah. And he's the strongest little man alive too. I could never keep up with him. I was always chasing him in the gym, so that made me train harder. So
yeah, he was a beast, man. I think he was the captain when I came through and got a couple of shots in reserve grade when I was in Jersey Flag. It was awesome. Yeah, top bloke. But unreal, mate. And then your first grade game. Surely you remember who it was against. What was it like? Tell us.
Yeah, mate. Freezing cold Saturday night down at Penrith Park. We played Canberra Raiders. And I'm sitting on the bench, as you'd imagine. I get on. It's about we're winning, we're flogging them, sort of thing.
Because you're there naturally.
Because I'm there. No, actually, because I was on the bench, and they come back and beat us. We're up by 20 points or something like that, and they come back and beat us. And I'm that typical debutant. I'm sitting in the sheds after the game, smile ear to ear, trying to hide my smile ear to ear because I've just played first grade. We've just been mowed down by 28 points ahead or something silly like that. But I was stoked, because I played first grade sort of thing. But all my mates were there and family was there. So, yeah, round 4 in 2003 it was.
Unreal. So I didn't actually realise that. So you debuted the year that you guys won the premiership.
Yeah, mate. And another testament to John Lang as a coach. He was the sort of coach that he picked and sticked. We didn't have any injuries that year. I rode the bench the whole way. I was number 17 the whole year pretty much. But yeah, that's another thing under John Lang. I got that chance to stick around.
Yeah, but I was with Langy at the South for a little bit in my last year, and even when I came through in 05, I think 05 was when I started. It was, he always seemed like a straight down line with me as well. I always respected that. But I remember looking up some stats. I think, it was did maybe like 21 or 23 guys play that year? Like it was very like tight. You see some teams that they go through 36 blokes in a year, but it was almost like it was the same team every single week, man, with you guys. It was awesome.
It was good, yeah. The great Dave McLean, he played one game in that. There's a photo of us all at the end of the year. We've got an individual shot, and there's not many players, and that's a bit of a stat that comes out of the grand final winners. If you see, they don't use too many players, and like you said, you just keep combinations. Preston Campbell, Reece Wesser, Craig Gower, Luke Prudis. You keep all those guys together for a few games in a row, they're going to start running amok, and they did.
It was, it really showed me in a different way, I guess, coming in, even though I grew up out at Penrith, coming in and getting the chance by mistake. I turned up on the wrong day and got to train with you guys in first grade when Matty Elliott was there as the coach. And it's good crew, like Pulatua boys, Jolie Clinton, Waterhouse. It was very tight crew. I could feel that right away, which no disrespect to when I moved on from the Dragons, but chalk and cheese, man, absolute chalk and cheese in the energy through the connectedness. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah,
and yeah, it's yeah, mate, I'm sure you've gone through and lived through it a few times, man. But what was it like? The GF, the lead up, the game itself, and then ultimately, I guess, the pinnacle of winning it.
Yeah, it's a good week growing up. Like I'm just sort of stars in my eyes kid. I was 21 at the time, I think I was. Yeah, just soaking it all in and appreciating it. I've still got Ryan Girdler. His words ringing in my ear saying, "You boys, you make sure you appreciate this, because he hadn't played finals and things like that for a long, long time, and then he's part of it finally towards the end of his career." And I can still remember thinking, "Yeah, mate, it's pretty good, and we appreciate it. Yeah, we really do." But actually, like moving forward, I didn't play another semi-final or grand final in the NRL or the Super League again. So that was my only sort of taste of finals footy. So looking back, I really, really appreciated what it was. But just the week was fantastic. Great week, build up to the week. Yeah, and the game just electric. I'll never forget that feeling of running out and the ground's just shaking and just that amount of nervous energy, but just good nervous energy, like really just sort of, it's a high, it's only surpassed by your kids and marrying your missus and things like that, all the life stuff. But
and this podcast,
it was awesome there, mate. It was fantastic.
I
actually got knocked out, knocked senseless. There's no HIA back in the day, so second half I was a bit in Disneyland a little bit, so I had to watch the video for the second half, but we won.
Mate, it's one of the best grand finals I think I've ever seen. Not because the Panthers won, obviously, team I go for. Still remember Tina Turner, mate, 91 grand finals, Penny Panthers. I think I was 6. It was, you're right, it was just electric. It was crazy. And then, East versus West, everything, it really was set. It was a stage that I don't know if I've seen. I'm sure there's been some massive, 17 years ago now, wasn't it? Or 16, yeah, crazy, man. Goes fast. It's still a moment though. That's the funny thing I find with anything that I've done, whether it is through footy, your children being born, marriage, anything. It's still just a moment, isn't it, mate? And what do you think it is that defines you as a man in appreciation of that, but also in moving forward and creating new things in your life? Is it that moment, or is it all the work that you've done? Like, Jesus, man, you must have been hooking in and you guys as a whole working hard the entire year. Like, it's a brutal sport. 26 games, and finals and the GF. Like it.
Mate, definitely, like you said, it's the momentum that you build as a team, and the hard work you put in together. Because, like I said, moving forward and not having that feeling in it, and not making those finals again, and not being part of a team that did that again. They made it in the 04 grand final. They made the 04 major semi-final, but I wasn't part of it. I was injured at the time. But moving forward the rest of my career, when you don't have that feeling in a team, it makes you look back and think, geez, that was something special that we had. And it wasn't, under John Lang's coaching style, it wasn't anything complicated. It was simple, but it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? It was just so straight up and down. Like you said, he was a straight shooter. And he got guys working in unison, really, because we had different groups, and socially it wasn't, there was a couple of different groups, but everyone got along, everyone respected each other, and we worked together as a team. So like that, it's something you can't create, as you know, Red. As you know, through what you're doing, especially, and I hear the messages you're putting forward, and it's just. The words couldn't be truer. That the momentum that you build, the teamwork, the environment that you're creating leads to special things. And that for me, that 03 Panthers team was the epitome of that. That just encapsulated everything that you needed.
It's incredible, man. I couldn't imagine. I'm sure I've had bouts of it in my own way, whether it's my tight-knit family, with things like what you said, the pinnacle of being a father and childbirth. But I was getting the ripple effect of that in '05, man. 2 years later, I was coming into that, and there's still a large portion. I think Sats might have been done, Girds. There's still a fair portion of guys though, and I could feel that. It's an incredible thing. It really makes you value what you said as well. Then the power of environment and energy, mate. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what creates you. You know, on the field, off the field, doesn't it? As mate, you're trying to create with the fellas there, and all power to you.
Thanks, mate. And I know you mentioned it before we started this. Mate, talk to us. What happened in '04? Broken neck, dislocated neck?
Dislocated my neck, yeah. Wasn't even on the field. It was an off the field injury. Just been with my mates, being a young bloke, having a good time out on the tiles, you know, come home and mucking around, you know, just wrestling around with a mate and doing what you always do with a teammate. And then, did yourself a mishap. Dislocated my neck, you know, like, and just everything just fell apart then, really. Like, you know, injured, first thing, you just didn't think about footy. You think about your life. You think about, you know, I was nearly a quadriplegic. I was like 2 mil off. They said being a quadriplegic, only have me delt muscle, you know. So you go from the highest of highs and you're flying as a young bloke, and just to have it all crashing down around you. Yeah, it sucked, and it was a big hit to the system. You know, moving forward, it defines you, and how I came back from, how I was able to sort of recover from that. I was really lucky in that, you know, like I said, I was only 2 meals off, but they were able to operate, and, you know, I slowly regained my strength and stuff like that. It was all unknown when I first did it. They pretty much said, well, we don't know how you're going to recover from this. But luckily, you know, touch wood, I got through it, and just went back to the grind. You know, I used my experience from being hurt as a teenager. I just thought, well, here we go again. You know, I've done this before, and, you know, build off the momentum of what I'd done before, and take the, you know, massive self-doubt and massive, like, just being down on myself about what happened and what I'd created and what had gone on. But, you know, that little glimmer of what happened as a teenager, I really used the confidence I built there to take on another challenge, you know.
It's funny too, like you hear terms like muscle memory and that sort of stuff, and literally the consciousness of the cells in our body. Like, it's, like you said, you get down, you get back into work. I wouldn't say that's what saved you, but it's got to be a large portion to it, man. Like you said, like, what would be going through your head at that time? What would you be thinking? How would the body respond? How would it come to building muscle and building the neural pathways again? Like, no normal person who did nothing and have that injury, I believe, would have been able to come through, not just physically, but mentally, to be able to overcome that, man. This is a big thing.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's bigger problems out there, and I always feel like sports sort of sports injuries are a first world problem, but, you know, in saying that, you know, it was something that, yeah, like I said, it just went back to what you know, and you take confidence out of what you can do and what you have done, and just try and do it again.
It's interesting as well, though, because you're talking about being at the high. If someone's born paralyzed, right, they'd never know what the feeling is. That was the hardest thing for me going through the ops that I had. And I never had neck or back issues, but having 9 operations, it was such another end of the extreme, because, like yourself, we're so used to being the pinnacle, up the top with any given sport. You're an elite athlete, you can move your body, maybe except for darts, who knows. I was going to say ping pong, but they look like they're pretty fast and got some crazy fast twitch muscle fibers. It's almost harder sometimes, isn't it, mate, when you get such a high thing taken away from you and you've got to build up from the ground again.
Yeah, that's your identity, isn't it, I suppose? And it's a good you know, leveler, and it's a good humbling experience to be able to, you know, when your body's not there and your body's not where it needs to be, where you want it to be, you know, to go internal, and, you know, and it develops you in other ways, in so many other ways, you know. There's so much more to life, and so
it's incredible you bounce back, man. Where did you end up? So what ended up happening throughout the rest of your career? Like, how many games did you end up playing? Where did you finish up, and whatnot?
I had the 4 seasons at Penrith. Played 70-odd games there. Went to the Gold Coast for a couple of years. Their first years into the comp. Played a couple of years at the Goldie, which is fantastic. Moved over to Salford. Went to the Salford Reds. It's based in Manchester, the UK Super League. A couple of good fun years over there with the wife and small boy. Then 3 years in France, which was only ever supposed to be 8-month sort of holiday on the end of my UK experience. Moved to a little town called Carcassonne and just fell in love and just said, wow, rugby league's a third string sport over there, and it's a minnow sport, but I could scratch it out full time and enjoy myself over there and see the world. And, why wait till thinking to myself, why wait till we're 65 and too old to get around when we've got a chance here in our prime to get around, push young bloke around in the stroller over the cobblestones in Rome and stuff like that. And we had 3 good years there in France. 2 at Carcassonne and 1 at the Catalans reserve grade side, UTC they were called. So captain coach there and had a great time. Had an absolute ball before we had to come home, join reality.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It would have been a good experience. And what was it like playing over there as well?
Over there in France, mate, awesome. Just because it was sort of like, you go over there and you're sort of the overseas players, only 3 or 4 blokes per team. And, like I said, I sort of captain coached in the sides I played in. So it was really good. Learn the language and, learn the customs. And because my wife and I had to go and, try to immerse ourselves in the culture, you get invited to go, like mushroom picking and pig shooting and all the stuff that they do over there and ski holidays and stuff. So, mate, yeah, really great experience. It's awesome.
That's unreal, bro. And here we are, mate. You got 2 kids now?
Yeah, 2 boys. Yep.
How old are they?
12-year-old Lachlan and a 6-year-old Owen.
Unreal. What's it like, mate? Fatherhood?
Yeah, I love it. We had Lachlan, we were young. We were on the Gold Coast when Lachlan was born on the Gold Coast. So pains me to say he was born in the Queensland hospital, but he'll never follow the roads. But no, we took him around with us, like we took him to England, we took him to France, and obviously there's no family, there's not a huge support structure over there. So he's coming for the ride. If we're going out for dinner, he's coming. And we took him around and I just love the experience that we could share with him. Playing football over there, you've got free time on your hands and you get a day off per week and things like that. You get to travel around. So it's been a great experience, fatherhood. I've loved every second of it. Really lucky, and I really appreciate now that I've come home to the real world and work a real job. Work frigging big hours and things like that. The time that I had with Lachlan, the first one, especially when he was little, it was invaluable. So.
And it's funny, like my little one, Lillian, she just turned 1 and far out it goes quick, man. It goes so quick. Even whether you got a 20-year-old or a 1-year-old, it's unreal how fast it seems to go. And I feel like children really, really showcase that. They bring the big mirror up in front of us.
Yeah, for sure.
But what's one of the hardest things about being a dad? We'll have a lot of dads who will watch this and listen to this. And like one of the biggest challenges or hard things that you find? Is energy levels, trying to be a role model, turning up? Like what are some things that you find that can be tough when we wear all these hats, man? Like you said, with work and everything else.
Yeah. For myself, I suppose you always just you want to sort of make sure that he's got everything that he needs to be set up. Both boys, like I really want to. You want to be there to provide for them, don't you? And that's the challenge, isn't it? Like as you know, like when guys come out of football, you spent 10, 15 years away from any trade, away from developing a career outside of being an athlete, sort of thing. I'd gone through uni and I did my bachelor's of exercise and sports science, and I've done my master's of exercise physiology, so I scratched that out during my career. So I had a bit of a start on what I'm going to do. But as you come out of football, you've got to get straight back into it. You're 30 odd, and you got to get your career developed and rolling. As blokes have had 15 years ahead of you in the chosen field, which they can continue to do, but you can't continue your sport, your career anymore. You have to move forward. So going through that transition and making sure that be a good role model from a young bloke and provide what he needs to get through. That's a bit of a pressure there, I suppose, and that's the pressure I feel as a father.
Yeah, I'm the same, man. Like with another one on the way, I find it's a good pressure if you've worked on yourself. Like because I'm working on myself, it's the greatest investment that we can have. I'm working on myself, being the best I can be, regardless of what industry or job or career or anything I have or do. It's almost that level of inner certainty and belief. And like you said, you want to provide, but when we found out, because we did IVF for our first 2 and this one was natural, And when I found out, I was just like,
Well done.
fucking all the more reason, right? Yeah, well, that's right. Finally, all the more reason, right, to win or to succeed, because the little eyes are watching and observing and seeing. And it's crazy, man, when we look at something, because I grew up wanting to play first grade. I wanted to play footy. I wanted to do this and that and that. And even if you had a long and glamorous career at 36 or 38, there's so much life left, isn't there? It's insane. But we don't see it at the time. It's so much more.
No, definitely. Yeah, definitely, mate. It's I'm a few years retired now, so yeah, enjoying the challenge of developing yourself and developing a career in another chosen field. So.
Mm. And you reckon you get the young blokes, like, are they playing footy? You think you'll get them into it a bit, or would they like anything? They get into anything in particular?
Yeah, my oldest boy, he couldn't play. He doesn't want to play rugby league at all. He's not a contact sport kind of kid. He's a fantastic boy. He's bright and he's active and he loves drama and things like that. Actually, he loves sticks and dirt, getting out and filming documentaries. That's his go. So, he's that way. And then the little one that they're talking to, the little one's a lunatic. He's a ball. He's a tearaway, and he's playing soccer at the moment. But I think he'll play footy, and he loves it. He'll train with dumbbells out the back, and he'll do Ninja Warrior courses and things like that. So they're chalk and cheese. I think he's my shot as an NRL player.
Yes. Well, you said you were playing cricket, didn't you? Like, I grew up playing soccer and cricket. Had one shot of footy at under 13s, and then didn't play again until I was 19. And I thought it was really good, a good base. Cricket takes a lot out of the day, though. I don't know how Dad did it with 4 boys. It's a long time, man. Corinne's already told me, she's like, they're not doing cricket. If we have a boy, he's not doing cricket.
Mate, I just made a cricket comeback, actually. We actually won the comp in old man cricket, fourth grade for Camden Rams. We played fourth grade park cricket down here just for a laugh and a good time. Awesome. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Unreal. Well, good hand-eye, isn't it? A really good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, no, just a bit of a good laugh, yeah.
Bloody oath. What's on the horizons, man? Like, anything in particular? I know you've got a very extensive background in life experience and in studies with health, wellness, training, exercise, performance, the human body. Anything sort of scratch your interest or sort of spark where you want to move to into the next phase as the kids get older, and for yourself, mate, personally and professionally?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, well, I'm going to be a exercise physiologist accreditation, so really keen to explore options that way as well. At the moment, I'm working for a non-for-profit, the Clontarf Foundation. We're working with young Indigenous boys and working with those kids, get them through their education and, through a variety of different activities, so camps and sporting events and trainings and after-school activities, lifestyle sort of skills, doing that as well. With exercise physiology, mate, I'm really looking to keep with that work. That men's health, is what I've always sort of been keen to explore and work inside, getting blokes active, because, like, if you can just see what we count as normal these days, it's unhealthy, isn't it? Like the Make Healthy Normal campaign of New South Wales government, I love that, and that was, it's a great message, because at the moment, it's not working, and we're getting sicker as a society, and to sit back and watch it and just think, wow, this could be so much better, and we're doing things the hard way. I'm looking forward to really trying to get in there and shake that up a little bit.
Definitely, man. And look, much love and respect for women out there. They're leaders in their own right, as mothers are too, but a lot of men and fathers, I think, are misguided or misled, mate. Like you're speaking about then, health and wellness. It's it's very interesting. What is a lot of men out there, a lot of fathers out there might be struggling. What are some things, like even mindset, like pieces of advice, mate, or takeaways or life lessons or learnings that have worked and helped you over the years that you think would help and add value to their life? Because there's a lot of them who may be struggling, man. They may not have the scope of mindset or the ability to get out there and get it done. Are there things like, I don't know if it's mantras or just practices or things that have worked for you over the years that you'd like to share or pass on, or pieces of advice?
Yeah, I think I've never been, don't be ashamed of being an individual, like the Australian culture and, what I grew up in, and, that real working class sort of just bite your lip and just keep pushing forward, like don't talk about your problems and that sort of stuff. I think even if you're not a really expressive sort of person, and seeking help all the time, but just live and examine life. I think if you can just be man enough to think about your perceptions and how you're portraying yourself and what you want out of life and what you think a good life is. Don't be afraid to go and pursue that. You know what I mean? Thinking that you have to have a beer with boys all the time, or you have to be that hard ass sort of bloke. You don't have to be. You can live a healthy life. You can take the time to eat healthy and think about how your perceptions and how you can be a better man within yourself. Live and examine life. It's something I've really looked at for the last few years. Reading many more books than I've ever had before in the past, and seeking knowledge really on other ways to live and how you can be the best you can be, really.
Love it, man. Big takeaway I got from that was limiting beliefs. Like you said, explore yourself and look at what you do want to have a crack at and build a perspective around that, right? Instead of all the bullshit going on in the world at the moment and living in a life of negativity or fear. And like what would you say before? It's become the new norm, right? Like just this is the new healthy. It's crazy, man. Like some guys jokingly celebrate the dad bod, and I don't care how much weight fathers have. If you're happy with that, awesome, good for you. But the reality is, from the sheer physics and physiology, if you're 20, 30, 40 kilos overweight, obviously not going to be able to express the same amount of energy as what you would ideally normally be, right?
Yeah.
But Trent Waterhouse said we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, mate. So I said I can go lower. I'll call him soon. But look, it's been awesome having you on today, Swaney. I know we keep in touch in bits and pieces here and there, but loved having you on and sharing your story and where you've been and where you're heading, man. It's unreal, and I'm sure we'll be doing some things together moving forward for sure. Do you keep in touch with any of the boys that you used to play with, or any of the fellas from the old crew?
Oh, well, Trent Waterhouse gives me a hard time every now and then. I'm sure trying to support him wherever possible. Mate, we get on a few group chats and stuff like that, and just touch base with everyone. It's one of those things, isn't it? Once you're part of something special, you can just touch base every now and then and still have that bond with people. Even though you're not seeing them day to day, you still always have that bond. So, and that's just not the A3 team. That's blokes you play with throughout your whole career. So blokes like that, definitely stay in touch.
Very true, man. I've got a handful of school friends, and that's it. Keep in touch with them once every 6 to 12 months, and guys like yourself. But if it's true and genuine, it's like yesterday, right? Which is pretty cool. Yeah. Because we're all busy, aren't we? We've all got our lives to live, man. It's insane. And awesome. Well, look, thanks again for jumping on today, mate, and really appreciate your time and the value of added. I hope you guys have gotten a lot out of this. Is there anything else you wanted to share, mate, or passing words of wisdom?
No, mate, not much from me. Like we said, like Trent Waterhouse reckons, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. But no, mate, just really happy to be part of it, man, and to get a chance to have a chat with you and support you in what you're doing, mate. What you're doing is fantastic, and I wish you all the success in how Real Dad Movement pushes forward, because it's a great cause, and it's something that, when you say things like you want to change the world and that sort of stuff and change Australian society, like, man, I believe it, because you're passionate in what you do and goals, mate. So keep pushing hard.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. And it's crazy. I'd rather shoot for that and hit here, instead of just shooting for somewhere and actually reaching it. It might be delusional optimism. Who knows, mate? But it's something where I always ask the dads in our group. I spoke about attention the other day, because that's very important. Focus, especially in these times. But also, what's the alternative? What's all right? You pull back, you give in, you give up, you settle in life, you're unhappy, you suppress, you reserve yourself, your energy, you don't have a crack. Like, how do you think anyone else could believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? It just doesn't make sense to me, man, But that's why we're here, right? To try and help shift that. And I remember Trent Waterhouse and Jolie Clinton used to be like lovers quarrels all the time. We might have to get them on as a duet next time. And but look, it's been awesome having you on, Swaney. Thanks again for joining us, brother. Look, thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you got a lot of value and out of this and appreciated. The time that we've spent with Swaney. He's a legend of a bloke. There's no denying that. And it's been awesome having you on, brother. So I appreciate it. And take care, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you soon on the next one.
All best.
Awesome.